This print-on-demand Etsy store was just kind of stuck with mediocre Etsy sales until they implemented one simple and genius Etsy strategy, and their sales exploded. Let's check it out. Hi, I'm Jess. I've built multiple 6- and 7-figure Etsy stores getting sales like these and learning the ins and outs of Etsy, Amazon, and more. A wild and crazy event led me to start a totally new life traveling abroad, giving me the unique opportunity to step back, work a lot less, and start sharing all of my Etsy insights with you. So hit that subscribe button, grab a pen and paper, and let's jump in. Hello, it is so great to see you today. Welcome back if you've seen my videos before, and if you're new here, thank you for clicking on my thumbnail. Hopefully you're going to learn a lot today. When I started to case study the store, I saw that they are using a strategy which is actually very, very easy and simple to do, and we're going to talk all about that today. So we're going to take a look at their Etsy store stats so you can see how they used this massive pivot in their Etsy strategy to explode in sales. Like they are literally growing as we speak. So this particular store has 26,098 sales. Their average product price, if we scroll down and take a peek at their listings, is actually about $18, and that's very conservative because, for example, if you see here, this is $16 for their cheapest mug, but they do also charge for shipping. So $18 is what I gave them for an average price, which is very, very conservative. And if we go down to their feedback here and we look at the very oldest one, we can see this is not a very old store. They actually started selling September 25th of 2021. So they just crossed over their 2-year mark plus about 5 months. So pretty cool, pretty impressive that they've managed to grow the kind of sales they've grown. When we account for 26,000 sales at an $18 price point since September of 2021, that gives them an approximate annual sales amount of $208,800. That's nuts. That's crazy if you think about the potential of starting a store today and 2 years and some change from today, you're pulling in $200,000 in revenue. That's massive amounts of money. And we're going to actually look at the profitability of all of this in just a second. But I wanted to point out, while we have this feedback up on our screen, that they didn't actually start with the strategy that they have. So as you see here, when I scroll through their earliest feedback, the designs are kind of all over the place. They have a lot of different designs. And around 2022, towards the beginning of 2022, they did actually start focusing primarily on the nursing niche. And that was doing okay for them. They were getting some decent sales for their nursing shirts. But it wasn't until they implemented the strategy that we're going to talk about today that their sales really started to grow quickly and gained them a lot of revenue here. So towards the end of 2022, they started to step out of that nursing niche and branch out to more designs. And if you guys want, you can dig through their feedback and kind of see this evolution. I'm trying to keep this super short, so I'm giving you kind of the Cliff Notes version here, but you can check it out at any point yourself if you want to see the actual progression of their design evolution here. Anyhow, towards the end of 2022, they started adding more diverse designs, and in October of 2022, they actually hit a little bit of a jackpot with a personalized grandma t-shirt, and they had a mom version, and I bet if you've seen a lot of my videos before, you've actually seen this mock-up quite a few times by now because it's quite popular. This might be, in fact, the most popular print-on-demand mock-up on Etsy. Anyhow, side note. This was really popular for them, and something must have clicked in their head because they were like, hey, personalization and family shirts is jackpot money. So we start seeing these all over their feedback. They start coming more and more and more. And then they implement this strategy here that we can see with their store, where they have very clear very similar designs, and their main page shows primarily coffee mugs. They do also have t-shirts, but if you notice, the designs are so similar, it's mind-blowing. And that is actually part of their strategy. So let's actually talk about how they implemented this plan. That's actually quite a simple plan to explode their sales. And I actually did a case study on another store that was somewhat similar to this, but had zero personalization. And I'll put the card to that video up at the top if you haven't seen that yet. It is really worth the watch. This store kind of took that same concept and added the power of personalized products to their strategy. And it really exploded. It brought them up to $200,000 a year revenue, which is pretty impressive for a 2-year-old store. So we're going to take a peek at some of these popular listings here. This is a year mug, so it does have some sort of personalization in terms of it's a specific year, but it comes exactly as shown. So this is what I like to call semi-personalized, and it can actually be set up as an automated listing with Printify, so you don't have to do any of the work. If this seller creates this mug, for example, with different years, 63, 64, whatever, and because this is a 60th birthday, they don't really need every year. They probably just need the milestone years, 50th, 55th, 60, 65, 30, whatever. And every one of those listings will be able to be automated on Printify. And I do also have a video about automating on Printify, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second as well. But this is the 50th version of that mug. We also see a little bit more of a open concept here. And this open concept where you can put any kind of text you want on it is really popular. People are drawn and attracted to the ability of really kind of creating their own personalized product. So this is selling really well for them. They also have this version here, which is basically the same thing, but it's a little bit different of a font. This has their classic little bubble colored font, whereas this one is just a simple black font. And these are both extremely popular for this seller. And they do also have this sweatshirt that has the family name and children's names on it, which is also extremely popular. It's also a bestseller, and a good handful of other popular designs as well. But the nice thing about a lot of these designs is they're semi-personalized. Abuelita is pretty simple. It comes exactly as shown. So you're literally buying an Abuelita shirt. So what the seller has done is taken the ability to provide a fairly personalized gift in a streamlined way so that they can capture that automatic order fulfillment service that Printify offers with the ability to offer personalized gifts. And if you guys want to see a tutorial about this, about how you can integrate these kind of semi-personalized designs, please comment down below and let me know. But these are pretty awesome in terms of providing a fairly passive income. Whereas on the flip side, a mug like this, or they have shirts like this as well, is entirely personalized. This cannot be automated with Printify. So it does take more time to fulfill these types of orders, but the sales demand is also typically much higher as well because people are attracted so much to that ability to create their own item. So let's take a peek really quickly before I break down their SEO and all of the back end components that are adding to this strategy that are not design related. Let's look at their profitability really quickly, and let's see how this would work out with using Printify, for example. So sticking with the coffee mugs, for example, since that's what we're looking at here, let's take a peek right here at their bestseller. This is a standard 11-ounce coffee mug. Let's see what they have. They offer the 11-ounce mug at $16.39. And they do have some other options as well, which we'll talk about when we detail their SEO. But we're going to go with the cheapest option just to see kind of what the worst case scenario on profitability would look like. So for example, this particular mug, if you do not have Printify Premium, is $4.40, which is pretty affordable. if we jump over to my workbook and we price this out here, and this is my Etsy Seller Success Workbook. I'm not going to talk a lot about this because I feel like I've talked about this in the last couple videos pretty extensively, but it is really super cool and very valuable if you want to check it out. The link to this is down below in the video description. So the shipping for a coffee mug is $6.39. I'm going to plug that into my workbook as well. And this particular seller is selling that simple white mug for $27.32 at 40% off. So actually the price drops down to $16.39. Since my workbook accounts for sales pricing, I'm just going to type this in and choose 40% off. So we get that $16.39 price here. And then we're going to see the shipping. Shipping for this is $7.08. So adding that in here, assuming that the seller fees are $2.68 essentially for this product, and if it is an offsite ad, the profit on this single one solitary coffee mug is $6.50. That's 28%. So for a product that probably takes about 15 minutes to personalize, that's pretty impressive. That's a good, decent amount of profit, $6.50. But if it's not sold from an offsite ad, which most of our orders are not from offsite ads, luckily, thank goodness, the profit on this is $10. And the profit margin is 42%. That's crazy for a print-on-demand niche. So this seller is definitely really raking in the money, and they have a decent profit amount. And especially if they're using a vendor like Printify, Printify automates all of your non-personalized orders. So it makes it really super simple when you're trying to process your orders and you're getting a fair amount of sales volume here. You only have to actually deal with the orders that are personalized. Any of the orders like these ones, these are going to be automated for you. You don't have to worry about anything. That is really, really helpful in terms of growing your store because it lets you focus your time exactly where you want to focus it. And even better, I'm totally hyping up Printify right now because the coolest part, in my opinion, about Printify is that you have access to worldwide orders. So you can find vendors that ship from Europe, you can find vendors that ship from Australia, you can find vendors that ship from Canada. And basically what that does is it allows you to capitalize on worldwide customers without customers having to wait 4 to 6 weeks for international delivery, which is really, really, really powerful because sometimes those long shipping times can really turn buyers off. People want their gifts now. They don't want to wait 6 weeks to get a gift that they're buying for someone. Probably they don't even plan ahead 6 weeks before someone's birthday or before a holiday or whatever to even allow for that. So you're automatically disqualifying any potential overseas buyers when you're selling gift ideas without having international shippers. So Printify solves that problem for you, and that's really, really valuable. And I wanted to point that out because I don't think I've mentioned that in my recent videos. So we know there's decent profit being made here. We know that they have a great strategy in place, but let's look at the rest of their strategy because it really does boil down to more than just cohesive designs, right? And if we jump back to their main page and we look through these listings, you can see a couple of things right off the bat that probably stand out to you, especially if you've seen a lot of my videos before. But I actually talk a lot about these particular strategies in the bonus ebook that comes with my Etsy Seller Success Workbook that essentially focuses completely on sales strategies and buyer psychology. So I want to point out here that because these are essentially templated listings, if you notice, all of these coffee mugs use the same image, and the only thing different about this is the actual design on the coffee mug. So it's funny too because you see here that they messed up a little bit with this banner. But then when they realized that, they fixed it on new listings. They didn't go back and fix the old ones, but they did fix the new ones. So they are trying to continuously improve and grow, which is always helpful when you're running a business. Anyhow, these are basically templatable listings. So you can create a lot of products and you're using, a set number of mockups, a set number of images. If you see these sweatshirts are the same, but the designs are different, it takes a lot of the work out, because if you have ever run a print-on-demand store or a t-shirt store, I know when I had my t-shirt store open, I spent a lot of time making mock-ups, and I spent a lot of time making different mock-ups so that I had different images. And in my opinion, because I am a little bit biased, I prefer to have different images so that customers can see different things. But I am seeing a rising trend in these templated listings that rely on the same handful of images, and it seems to be really working well. Another powerful thing that this seller is doing, which jumps back to that sales psychology, is they are utilizing simple differences to attract more buyers. So these are exactly the same. They're the same design, but they're on different colored shirts. Obviously, the dark colored shirt has a white vintage wording and the light colored shirt has a black vintage wording, but different types of buyers are going to be attracted to each of these main images here. So some buyers, when they're searching on Etsy search pages, are going to like this image over this one. And by having both of these here as separate listings, even though they're the same product, they're making it so that they can capture both types of buyers and they're not isolating or losing out on any potential sales. And that is another thing that is really helping to make this store grow so quickly. So it's really, really smart on their end that they're doing it this way, because they're allowing themselves to catch the attention of multiple types of buyers, regardless of the fact that this is essentially the same exact design. So they have one design with tons of products here because they have different years on each of these. And by the way, while we're on that topic of sales strategy, I don't think I've mentioned in any of my videos quite yet that I do have an amazing email series. It's 5 days long. It's like a little mini course and it's totally free. I have one for Etsy beginners and I have one for current sellers that are kind of feeling stuck and looking to grow. So you really know where to start, what to focus on, and you don't miss anything important. And if you want to check those out, they are free. The link to both of those is down in the video description below. So let's actually look at some SEO here. Looking at their images, we've already talked about their main image. I do want to point out this video. This video gave me a little bit of a chuckle when I first looked at it. I don't know what's up with this video with the red background that doesn't match the style or aesthetic or anything of the design of the coffee mug at all. It's just feels very, very random. But anyhow, the next video shows the coffee mug without being held by somebody, so on a little table surface. They do offer a satisfaction guarantee, which is great because they're promising a full refund if it's broken or damaged or late, which, most sellers do offer this, but telling people that you offer it is always beneficial. It gives them a little bit more reassurance that they can feel safe and comfortable giving the store their money, because if there is a problem, then this seller really cares and is going to make it right. They then have their size chart with the different types and colors of mugs here. And Printify does have all of these mugs. I do want to point that out really quickly here. If I take off the filters, these are the ones with the colored handles. They have a few different vendors, actually, that we see right here. And then the one with the black and almost, it kind of looks a little bit metallic, is right here. So very cool, lots of different options. Printify also has other options that might appeal to you as well if you want to change things up. But the next image they have here is a features image. So they do say that it is produced in the USA, which makes a little bit more sense out of that video they had before. It is a design placed on both sides, microwave and dishwasher safe. This is a big one. This is super important. I don't know if you've ever bought a coffee mug at a grocery store, at a store somewhere and then washed it and everything came off in the dishwasher, but it's annoying and disappointing. So this is a good feature. They didn't put a lot of effort into this particular mock-up because you can see that the words aren't really fitting. They're not wrapped around the mug. But other than that, this is a good informational image. And then lastly, they're highlighting some customer reviews. And this is another really smart image that goes back to those sales psychology tactics that help to boost sales conversion. So when you implement these different features of sales psychology, you're really just helping customers feel more safe and comfortable shopping with your store. So this seller is not using all 10 images. That is it for them. But the images that they do have are really well done. So in terms of the actual SEO and their titles and tags and all of that stuff, you can see that they are using that very smart strategy that I talk about in the 𝑬𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒈 video that I keep mentioning over and over now. They have strong repetition here of very specific words. And the repetition isn't so much as important in this strategy as using the same words. So if we look at their different listings here, you're going to see a lot of the same phrases repeated among their different listings. So if you notice here, 30th birthday mug, vintage 1994 mug, 40th birthday mug, vintage 1984 mug, down here, 40th birthday mug, 60th, it just continues on with the exact same phrases and style and wording, and that is going to be really beneficial for helping the Etsy algorithm figure out what they're selling, who they're selling to, and exactly what types of products these are. So the use of repetition, not necessarily within the listing, but that repetition throughout your shop is going to really strengthen your SEO for your shop as a whole, which also then boosts all of your listings up along with it. So that's really important, and I do want to point that out. If we come down to their tags here, we can see a little bit more variety. They do still strongly emphasize those words like custom mug, custom text mugs, but there are some other tags in here, some other phrases as well that are more targeting people, gifts for various people. And then, of course, there's make your own mug, add your own text, design your own. So really focusing on capturing as many searches as possible. However, that personalized products are not required to make this strategy work. 𝑬𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒈 had zero personalization, and this strategy was still working really well for them as well. So I'm going to prompt you to go ahead and check that video out for more details on this particular strategy and how you can use it to go from no or maybe mediocre sales to absolutely snowballing massive sales for your store. And if you've already seen that video, then I'm going to invite you to watch my full step-by-step tutorial that connects Printify with your Etsy store for seamless passive income so you can sit back and let your orders fulfill themselves automatically. You can watch those next.